Well, it's official. The Lakers' first round playoff matchup will be the Minnesota Timberwolves, the first time these two have met in 2 decades now at this point, dating all the way back to 2004 and 2003. Those being the Kobe Shaq Lakers and the Kevin Garnett Timberwolves, with the Lakers winning both matchups. Their 2004 matchup being a Western Conference Finals matchup, the Lakers winning that one in 6 games, and their 2003 matchup being a first round matchup, with the Lakers also winning that one in 6 games. But then again, things have definitely been a bit different lately for these two. I mean, during their past 15 matchups, the T-Wolves have definitely had the upper hand here, having a record of 10-5 in that time frame and beating the Lakers a couple times by a pretty large amount while doing it. And then not to mention the postseason last year, with the Wolves making it to the conference finals, while the Lakers flamed out in the first round. And not to mention the Wolves having beaten the opponent that beat the Lakers, that being the Denver Nuggets. However, we are talking about a very different Lakers team, and a fairly different T-Wolves team here too. Obviously the main difference being Luka Doncic, the Lakers pulling off an absolutely blockbuster trade for him at the trade deadline, trading Anthony Davis, getting Luka Doncic, and completely transforming their team while doing it. And not to mention Luka being the guy that eliminated the T-Wolves in the playoffs last year. And then for the T-Wolves, them pulling off a big trade of their own, but one that's not worked out too well for them. Trading Karl Anthony Towns to the Knicks, getting Julius Randle, and him simply not working out the same way for their team. And with all of that being said here, what will the matchup look like? Who will guard each other? How will they try to attack each other? And might the Lakers be an absolute nightmare matchup for the T-Wolves? We'll talk about that and break it all down. But before we get too far into it, let's go over our game day picks with Underdog Fantasy. And if you want to follow along with me, here's what I got going on for tomorrow's play-in tournament action. For pick number 1, I got Jimmy Butler having higher than 18.5 points, dropping that down from 21.5 points down to 18.5. And we are talking about playoff Jimmy Butler here, so I think he will get higher than that. Then for my second pick, I got Jaren Jackson Jr. having higher than 14.5 points, dropping that down from 19.5 down to 14.5, which I think is a bit low for him. Then for my third and final pick, I got Brandon Podziemski having higher than 2.5 points in the first quarter. I mean, during his past 10 games now, he's been averaging 6.5 points in the first quarter, so I think he can get higher than 2.5. And if you want to follow along with me, or make your own picks, then be sure to check out Underdog Fantasy, and don't forget to use code JSM to get your free pick, plus up to $1,000 in bonus cash when you make a deposit. But now getting back to our topic. And well, whether you're a Lakers fan, T-Wolves fan, or simply an NBA fan, you should definitely be looking forward to this matchup. I mean, getting all three of LeBron, Luka Doncic, and Anthony Edwards on the court together is an absolute treat and definitely should make for a fun matchup. Plenty of star power there, plenty of offensive firepower there that should lead to plenty of highlight plays, and that'll be an absolute treat, and simply two teams that are very fun to watch in my opinion. But getting into the actual matchup and starting out with how they'll match up and guard each other. For the T-Wolves side here, likely to have Mike Conley defend Austin Reeves to start the game, which already is a mismatch in my opinion. I mean, no hate to Mike Conley, but not a great defender at this point, and definitely cannot keep up with Austin Reeves. So I definitely wouldn't be shocked to see the Lakers attack that matchup early on. Then for Anthony Edwards, we'll either have to defend Luka Doncic or Rui Hachimura, which probably will be Rui Hachimura in my opinion. I mean, he did defend Luka Doncic a little bit in the conference finals last year, did okay on him at times, but they don't want him to do that all the time. That would waste way too much energy, and with the offensive burden that he does carry for their team, that's not going to happen very often. Then for Jaden McDaniels, the likely primary defender for Luka Doncic, which didn't really go well for him last time out. He might be tall enough and does have the height advantage over Luka, but does not have the strength advantage over him. Definitely got pushed around by Luka, and whenever Luka got in front of him, had him on his hip and then took advantage of him, which we will talk more about in a bit here. Then for Julius Randle, likely will have to take on the LeBron matchup, and that's not a good thing for him. I mean, good luck with that. Definitely not quick enough or defensive savvy enough to guard LeBron, and not the most laterally quick defender, not the best defender in general, and definitely cannot take on a matchup like LeBron James. So good luck with that, I guess. And then finally for Rudy Gobert, likely will match up with Jackson Hayes, and I say likely because he's kind of playing more of a drop coverage and a shadow coverage, trying to help on guys like Luka Doncic and LeBron James, which did not go well for him in the conference finals against Luka Doncic last year, and we'll definitely touch more on that in a bit here too. Overall though, to start the game, it might seem like the Wolves match up pretty well with them, but when you get down to it, plenty of stuff they can attack here. Attacking Mike Conley and Julius Randle at the 3-point line, and then attacking Rudy Gobert in drop coverage. And even with Nickeil Alexander-Walker off the bench, a key defender for the Wolves, which will likely happen sooner than later, with Austin, LeBron, and Luka attacking Mike Conley, that's probably not enough for them. But then for the other side of it, how the Lakers will match up with the Wolves and with their starting lineup, partially based off their last matchup, albeit that came with no Rudy Gobert or Julius Randle. Austin Reeves did begin the game by guarding Mike Conley, which isn't a terrible matchup for him. I mean, Mike Conley's a great table setter and a very good playmaker, but not a guy that will directly attack Austin Reeves off the dribble, or at least not very often. And then for Luka Doncic, he actually did begin the game on Anthony Edwards last time out. Hard to say if it'll happen again, and probably won't happen, but they did it last time and did take a team approach with him, not having Luka defend him one-on-one, but more so a team defense approach, different blitz coverages at him, occasional double teams, and different shadow coverage, which I wouldn't be shocked if they tried that again, albeit maybe not with Luka Doncic as Ant's primary defender. Then for Rui Hachimura, he did begin last game on Naz Reid, who is not part of their starting lineup anymore, or in general when they're healthy is not, so he likely will begin on Jaden McDaniels in my opinion. Then for LeBron, last time out defended Jalen Clark, who is in their lineup for injuries, but obviously not the case again, so he likely will match up with Julius Randle this time out. And then finally for Jackson Hayes, will almost certainly be defending Rudy Gobert, unless JJ Redick tries something different and something very unique that we don't see coming. That one's pretty likely in my opinion. Though it won't be directly, much like Rudy Gobert, Hayes will be playing a form of shadow coverage and trying to help off of him rather than defend him directly, as he is not a 3-point shooting threat or much of an offensive threat in general. But then for their bench unit, do have 3 key defenders off the bench, and those happen to be Dorian Finney-Smith, Jared Vanderbilt, and Jordan Goodwin. With Jared Vanderbilt being a big part and has been a big part of them defending Anthony Edwards, is a guy that can take on that matchup one-on-one, so they will throw him at him, and not to mention he's been a bit of a headache against Ant too. Former teammates, and they do like to jaw at each other. I mean, the last time they played, they were definitely pushing each other, jawing at each other, and that did eventually end with them picking up a double tech against each other, which I imagine will probably happen again, as Vanderbilt does kind of like to exacerbate that matchup. Not sure if that's from a former friendship or one that eventually did turn sour, and he definitely does like to get after Ant here. Then for Jordan Goodwin, also might be a part of defending Ant, albeit probably a bigger part of defending Mike Conley and Nickeil Alexander-Walker off the bench. But then finally for Dorian Finney-Smith, the biggest part of their bench unit and definitely the biggest part of their small ball lineup defense. And yes, that has worked against bigger teams, holding a guy like Nikola Jokic to only 12 points on 2 of 7 from the field. So yeah, definitely a good example. Or then against Anthony Davis, holding him to 13 points on 5 of 13 shooting. Or then for Alperen Sengun, only 14 points on 5 of 11 shooting. And then finally for Karl Anthony Towns, holding him one time to 12 points on 3 of 13 shooting. And then their first matchup against him, only 11 points on 3 of 12 shooting. So yes, they can match up with bigger teams, and if your argument is saying that the Lakers are too small to beat them, you probably should find a different argument, as that's definitely not true. But apart from how they match up or might guard each other, why are the Lakers, or why might they be so difficult for Minnesota to contain on the court? And well, there's really no other way around it. Reason number 1 would definitely have to be Luka Doncic. I mean, last season in the Western Conference Finals, they had absolutely no answer for him. Against them, Luka averaged 32.4 points per game, and no, I'm not joking about that, on 47.3% from the field and 43.4% 3-point shooting, not to mention on 4.1 made 3-point shots per game against them. And yes, that happened to be against the best defense per se in the entire NBA last season, completely exposing them and making an absolute mockery of their Defensive Player of the Year, Rudy Gobert, and the drop coverage they try to play against them. And you know what? It's nearly guaranteed that he'll do it again in my opinion. I mean, with Rudy Gobert on the court, that's barbecue chicken, and Luka knows exactly how to take advantage of that kind of defense. After all, Rudy Gobert is not going to switch. He won't be trying to switch on to Luka Doncic. He'll hedge maybe a little bit, but sink right back in that drop coverage, and that's exactly what Luka Doncic knows, and knows how to take advantage of it too. I mean, sure, drop coverage does a great job at defending the rim, but what it does not do is cover up the in-between game, aka the mid-range. And well, that might not be an ideal spot for most players. Luka Doncic is not most players, and he showed that directly against them in the conference finals too. I mean, time after time and time after time with the pick and roll game, drawing up Rudy Gobert, getting Jaden McDaniels or Anthony Edwards on his hip, and then after Rudy Gobert sinks into that drop coverage, preventing the lob to Daniel Gafford or Derek Lively, that's when Luka Doncic has a ton of space to work with. He can either do a floater at the rim, he can get Jaden McDaniels on his hip and then draw a foul into him, or he can kind of take a little step back mid-range shot, and he did all of that quite a bit against them. I mean, take this play for example. The very first play that they ran against them and the first time Luka Doncic scored against them was on a pick and roll play that attacked Rudy Gobert. And well, it's pretty much exactly what I repeated, drawing Rudy Gobert up, getting Jaden McDaniels behind him and then kind of stopping to get him on his hip, then waiting till Rudy Gobert sank and prevented the lob threat to Daniel Gafford, and Luka simply pulled off for a little mid-range floater here and knocked it down with ease, which he continued to do throughout the entire series. I mean, once again, only a few plays later, here we have Luka attacking the drop coverage again, this time out of a horn set, which the Lakers run quite often with Luka Doncic, LeBron, and Austin Reeves, having a double cross screen from Daniel Gafford and Derrick Jones Jr., freeing up Luka for a lane to the right, and with about 15 feet between him and Rudy Gobert, there's a whole lot of space to work with. He gets down the lane, waits for Jaden McDaniels to catch up with him, again, gets him on his hip, and with Rudy Gobert not attempting to switch, rather going back onto Daniel Gafford, Luka has the freedom to either pull up here, or kind of bonding up into Jaden McDaniels, pull off that little mid-range floater and trying to draw a foul while doing it. And I am not kidding you, they literally did this throughout the entire series, attacking the drop coverage, whether it's with Jaden McDaniels or Anthony Edwards defending Luka Doncic, same outcome either way, him getting them on his hip, Rudy Gobert not switching and letting Luka get to that free throw line extended, and pretty much doing whatever he wanted to after that point. Or then the occasional time that Rudy Gobert did switch, it either resulted in a step back 3-point shot, which Luka hit for a game winner in game 2, absolutely embarrassing and yelling at Rudy Gobert after it, telling him to step up and that he can't defend him. And well, that's the harsh truth here, he cannot defend him, or even help out against him in their reliant defensive drop coverage. And if they do that again, Luka will continue to attack it and directly expose him on the court, which I imagine he will do and JJ Redick will plan for him to do as well. And simply put, Luka Doncic is and always will be a nightmare matchup for teams like the Wolves who are very reliant on drop coverage, especially with Rudy Gobert out there. And I mean, sure, they could take him out, but then where's their rim protection? At that point, good luck trying to keep up with Luka Doncic, LeBron, and Austin, and trying to keep them out of the paint, which they will not be able to do, and they showed that in their last matchup. Without Rudy Gobert and only having Naz Reid, or a combination of Naz Reid or Julius Randle, or whoever they have come off the bench, they cannot keep those three out of the paint. So in my opinion, if Luka repeats even a fraction of what he did against them in the conference finals, which I think is very repeatable, I mean that's literally his preferred style of play on the court, getting defenders on his hip, attacking drop coverage, and getting that in-between game, that's probably what he would prefer to do against every team. So between that, then combine that with Austin Reeves and LeBron James, and they have plenty of ways to attack their defense and probably expose their defense out there too, especially Rudy Gobert. But apart from Luka Doncic, why else are Lakers so difficult for them to match up with, and how might they be able to take advantage of them? Well, for one, the T-Wolves thrive on slowing down their opponent offensively, and that's something they really can't do against the Lakers. I mean, the Lakers already play at the 9th slowest pace, and good luck trying to slow down Luka Doncic, LeBron James, or Austin Reeves. And by slowing down, I don't mean containing them, I literally mean trying to make them play slower. All three of them are masters at dictating their own pace in the court. Whether they want to play fast, slow, or whatever it might be, they dictate that, not their opponent, and definitely not a defense like the TWolves in my opinion. That's why they already had so much trouble with Luka Doncic. They couldn't dictate his pace, and now try to dictate his pace, LeBron's pace, and Austin all three put together. Good luck. But then for when the Lakers do want to play quicker and a bit more fast on the court, they do have something to attack here with the T-Wolves. I mean, the T-Wolves give up the 13th most points per game to their opponent off turnovers, and that's something the Lakers are pretty good at attacking. I mean, causing a turnover, then getting the ball to Austin, LeBron, or Luka, that's a pretty dangerous approach, and with the T-Wolves not being a great transition defense, they're much more effective with their half-court defense, getting Rudy Gobert set up, getting their half-court defenders set up. That's what they do, not defending in transition, and not matching up with a freight train like LeBron James, or two very methodical guys like Austin Reeves and or Luka Doncic. So between that, dictating the pace, and trying to prevent their points per game off turnovers, I'm not sure they'll be able to do it, and that's something the Lakers will and should attack from them too. But then finally, how the Lakers defend them and how they might plan to match up with a guy like Anthony Edwards or Julius Randle. Well, for one, Julius Randle has not been a good playoff performer. That's something to point out here, and he might work against himself. I mean, up until this point, averaging 17.1 points per game, which isn't bad, but then for the efficiency, not so good. In the playoffs, only shooting 34% for the field and a paltry 28.3% from 3. So yeah, not too good, and with 4 turnovers per game to go with it, that's not been a good playoff performer. And then even for Anthony Edwards, obviously a great player and has been a good playoff performer, albeit in his short playoff time, the Lakers matched up pretty well with him this season. In their 4 matchups, Ant only averaged 19 points per game against them, on 40% field goal shooting and 31% from 3. And although I doubt they replicate that, clearly they do know how to bother him and throw different defensive coverage at him, which he does not like on the court. Likely to start with a different team defense combination, like I said, throwing different blitzes at him, shadow coverage with Jackson Hayes, and different stuff on the court that he might not like from a team defense standpoint. And then off the bench, throwing guys like Jared Vanderbilt, Dorian Finney-Smith, and Jordan Goodwin at him, with a heavy dose of Jared Vanderbilt. And like I mentioned before, that has worked and has bothered him directly, with those two picking up double techs in their last time out, Vanderbilt being very physical with him, those two jawing at each other and definitely having some kind of feud. That should be a fun matchup to watch. Vanderbilt's an elite defender and he does like to match up with Anthony Edwards. So between that, the team defense concepts, different double teams and blitzing techniques to throw at him, I think they've done pretty well against him and hopefully will again, albeit not stopping him or probably even containing him in some games. I think they've done pretty well against Ant. And well, if they do contain him, or everyone else around him and take them out of the game, while at the same time having Luka Doncic take away and target their best defender, that being Rudy Gobert, I do not see this one going well for Minnesota. I mean, not saying it'll be a cakewalk for LA, but they really have everything they need to take advantage and expose their defense on the court, which in my opinion will lead to them winning this series if they execute correctly and have Luka Doncic replicate or come close to replicating his conference finals against them last year. But with all of that being said, what do you guys think? How do you feel about the stuff I pointed out, both offensively, defensively, matchup wise, and simply about how they play against each other, or how they might match up with each other? And how do you think it will ultimately end between them? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. But I think that will pretty much do it for this one, and if you enjoyed the video, then I'll greatly appreciate it if you dropped a like, subscribe to the channel if you have not already, and hit that notification bell to never miss out when I upload a video. But as always, thank you for watching and have a great day or night.